Hey, thanks for joining me. Today we're building an abandoned warehouse in The Sims 4, and strap in and maybe get some water because it is a wild ride, friends. I'll put up an image that I base this build on so you can get the vibe. Basically, I found this image on Pinterest, and what I was really drawn to about this building was the concept of a warehouse or factory as really tall rather than really long and short. So to go for this kind of tall warehouse shape, I really started with the smaller rectangles to sort of define the front of the building, and knowing that the silo sort of things were going to be really tall, I just built those up really quickly. The fun for me here, I think, was figuring out that the height of the different levels and how to best use those to my advantage to get this sort of multi-layered effect so that I could get these really fun, weird, off-the-side rooms, because I really like the aesthetic of like these multiple odd roofs that kind of don't really seem like they're coming from an area that's really part of the building, but definitely is. I really like this build because usually my builds are very plant and nature heavy, and I'm a big fan of like cottage core and plant core, and they're really easy for me to use as kind of a base and a safe space. But at the same time, I have like a very deep part of my heart that belongs to abandoned and decrepit and overgrown, rusted, forgotten places that are very, very dear and tender to me, and I see them in the world and I take photographs of them all of the time. So I was very excited about this kind of build, and I decided to put it on this lot in Evergreen Harbor, which is the eco-friendly lifestyle land, and really just picked this lot randomly without even realizing that there were like trains and railroad stuff all over the place, and didn't really realize until I was putting color on everything that it really honestly fits very well into this whole setting. So that kind of worked out for me, honestly. So when it comes to picking out walls, I had a lot of fun, I guess. Maybe more of a struggle trying to find the right sidings. And it really took me like a very long time. I'm pretty sure that there's probably a solid hour's worth of footage here where it's just me going through the exact same sidings and walls and going through all the different color variations and continuing to change them and try and figure them out before going back to the original ones that I picked. But I figured it out eventually. This is not what you're seeing right now, is definitely not the last time that I will change everything about this build. I always struggle with doing siding though, because every time I do it I want to have like a little bit more of a rustic or worn down sort of look, and I hate to say it, but The Sims just doesn't always hit it. Like, it's very hard to find really well done brick that's not so uniform, or like I want some like really good clunky chunky stones, or like weird brick and cement together, you know? Like, I like that kind of a texture, and they just don't really do it for me. but you know, we make do. And so I just kind of picked a bunch of things and then had to stop focusing on it because it was going to drive me insane. And we moved on to, I think, one of my favorite parts of building, which is roofs. And you might be like, what? Sid, roofs? Roofs suck. Like, that's such a nightmare to do. But just listen to me for a second. I think that once I figured out what I was really doing with roofs and how to incorporate them into a look and style of a space, of an environment, I really started to like them. And they're very simple, but they're really just a very specific detail that is truly the cherry on top of building. Literally, if a cherry were a hat, the roof is that same hat. It's that cherry. This is not the last time that you'll see me edit all of the roofs as well. I go through them, and similarly to the sidings, I am not a huge fan of a lot of the options that are available, but for this specific build, it was really convenient that both the werewolf pack and the island pack both have really good like sheet metal roofing styles. So I realized that a little late, but it was probably about maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours into this actual build of doing roofs before I even realized that the island pack had a really good sheet metal roof as well. Because I've been all about the werewolf style aesthetics because that's just really what hits home for me. At some point, I stopped focusing so much on the aspect of siding and roofing and stuff like that, and I realized that apparently they make round walls and like round corners in this game, and I have been playing since I was small on and off and never knew this, and so I was like, oh my god, I have to try and figure out if that is going to fit for these silos and if it'll look better. But then I realized that the smallest half circle that I could make was twice the size of the silo that I wanted, so I bailed on that, and you guys just got to see that. Then moving on to windows, I hate doing windows. I hate it. There's nothing fun about it for me. They drive me crazy, and so I just kind of put them everywhere, and then I'll change them later on and kind of like make them fit more of the style that I'm going for. But again, there's just not a lot of options. Like, I really wanted more broken windows, and I actually went hunting for custom content that has broken windows, downloaded a bunch, and then came back and tried to use them, and when I did, they broke my game. And so that took me a very long time to fix, and was not very fun at all to have happen, because the internet was like, yeah, you should go through and delete all of your mods and then re-upload them one by one and use that method in order to figure out which mods are messing up your game. But I don't know about you, but I have a lot of mods, and so I took a guess, and lo and behold, my first guess was right. So I fixed it. But it took a very long time. So, then moving right on along, here I am changing all of the windows again, because why not? Realized that I could make them all the different colors, and it was a little bit more fitting for this kind of chaotic warehouse that's got a lot of colors already on it, and also in the environment around it, and so I thought it would just kind of like help set it into that space. And also for the sort of style and vibe that I'm going for, the storyline of this building that I'm working on is it being, again, an abandoned warehouse, but it's not just abandoned now, it's found and probably lived in and used. The lot itself that I set it up as is a community space. So the whole idea behind it being a community space being that it is occupied or lived in or activated by people, and so it's not just something that used to be used, but now it's been found and used for something else entirely. So with that in mind, basically built and designed around it having sort of new hands on it. So I imagine people kind of coming in and knowing that they're not staying, but also wanting to have like a physical touch on the building itself, like a making of a mark to prove that you're there and that you owned this space, kind of like the same idea of like graffiti or carving your name into a bar or a tree. Same kind of idea, where I just imagine people like going around painting windows and it's like splattering paint on everything, you know? So that's kind of where I gave myself the allowance to let all of the different windows be different colors, at least the ones that are that kind of obviously wood painted. Realized that I skipped over the part where I was painting the ground, but I did want to say that ground shading is probably my least favorite part of this entire experience in The Sims, mostly for the fact that whatever the base layer of the lot is in the game, you can't get that ever again once you paint it. It will never come back, and I can't, or at least I can't figure out how to make it come back. So I kind of, for this build, used a lot of mud. I thought it made a lot of sense because of the area that it's in. It's forgotten, it's wet, it's next to this train track that looks like it might not be used very often, but also near a mountain and also very close to the actual harbor. You can kind of see it in the screenshots at the end that I'll show you. So basically, I just used a bunch of mud and kind of tried to keep some of the weird, what is it, like gravel or something aesthetic going on. And then, again, naturally, I redid all of the walls and the windows yet again. And I only did the exterior in this build because this was a solid, like, 6 or 7 hours just doing the outside. So maybe we'll do the interior on a different speed build. But for the purpose of this specific video, we're just doing the outside. Moving on to the actual outside, now that we've kind of figured out the whole building now that the building looks like a building, which is really what I want most of the time, it's time for the next best part, which is putting stuff in the space. I love this part, and often, because I normally do so many like outdoorsy, plant, cottagey builds, I don't usually get to use a lot of objects, like living objects and structures and stuff like that. It's usually just how many plants can I fit in this corner on top of each other. And so I kind of got to use another part of my brain today, which was how many objects can I put in this corner on top of each other? I used a lot, and there's a lot of different variations that you will see where I just kind of putz about putting all of these objects and custom content things that I downloaded in my search for a broken window that I never got. And I found all of these cool, like, apocalyptic sets and stuff. I'll try and find the links so I can include them in the, what's it called? The summary thing down below. This is my first ever YouTube video, guys. Just a heads up. So I'm sorry if this is kind of chaotic. I'm not cutting anything out of this audio. This is all just me for the most part. Well, I mean, it's fully me, but you know what I mean. You know, you get it. You get the vibe. We all know that I'm chaotic. I mean, look at this freaking building. One of the things that I did find, I think that's a custom code, is that scaffolding stuff. Maybe it's not a custom code, but I did find it. I'm not sure if it's custom or if it's in a pack, but it truly, it hit me. It hit me in a really good way. I also really love these, the shipping containers that I found, and these pallets, and these wooden boards for the windows. That is something that I need so much more of. Please, if anybody has cool custom content like that, please go on and send it my way, because I'm here for it. It's what I want. At some point around here, I started adding ladders, because I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could climb up this entire building or try and access all of the different points, all of these cool different roofs? Because again, some punks probably occupied this space and have claimed it as their own and have made it into like a cool punk community house or something like that. That's really the vibe that I'm going for here. So I changed all of this side over here. Well, not all of it, but I took away some of the roofs because I couldn't get the ladder to connect, and tried very hard to figure out a way to connect each different layer so that you could at least get up to that balcony, and had to satisfy this need for like a door in order to get to that inside ladder. Found that secret door, the like bookshelf door that I've never gotten to use, so I cheated it, and here we are. Now we have it, finally, and it's in full use now, because nobody's gonna realize that a bookcase door on the side of a shipping container is a door, right? Nobody's gonna see that. That's so secret, isn't it, Sid? Yep. Anyways, moving on, I also found these amazing wooden pallets, and I decided to put them everywhere, because what else am I gonna do with wooden pallets and a rusty car and this like abandoned gas station thing? I found this amazing set of abandoned apocalyptic gas station items, and also this park one where that slide is from. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'm so happy that people are making this kind of shit, because it's really changing this entire game for me, really leveling it up. Honestly, like, if you have it, give it to me. Give me your abandoned, give me your broken, give me your rusted, decrepit, moldy ass items and designs, and I will love you forever. Probably. For the most part, at least. Probably. Until you do me wrong, you know? Unless we got bad blood. Then, you know, it could be a peace offering, I guess. Also, I really love the fact that this gas station sign says Blaze on it, because, I mean, you know, right? It's a sign, like it's an okay sign. It's like, yeah, what's up, Blaze? Anyways, moving on. I started adding these weird copper things. I realized kind of late in the game that I don't have enough of these, and I was really looking for them within my inventory of crap, because I have a lot of the Sims packs and I have the industrial design one, and honestly there's not a lot going on in that pack. There's like a couple furniture items, but I think that these pipes are pretty much it for that whole pack, and that's honestly pretty disappointing. But you know, we're gonna make do with what we've got. I did not want to go back into download custom content land because I had already spent like 2 hours in there and had already downloaded everything, and also had a fight with the game and had to restart and delete a bunch of stuff. So that's enough of that for me for the next small lifetime, I guess. Anyways, then we finally are onto plants. We're in plant mode, which is like my happiest place. So I got to start adding all of these green things to the walls and adding texture, and this is where I really go ham and kind of lose myself, and pretty much the next 7 minutes of this video are all putting vines on stuff. So it's fun, right? It's fun. Also, it adds such an amazing element. Like, you can't have abandoned and not overgrown, because nature will take over anything. Truly, the earth will reclaim any space that it possibly can that has been taken from it. So, with that in mind, there's just shit growing all over this building, and it's what really made it really, really for me, you know? It truly satisfies the brief. The way that I did a lot of this, also, it took me a while to figure out exactly how I wanted to get all the texture and tones in there, but I really ended up using that really thick vine. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a heavy, thick, mossy thing from the vampire pack, and I used that as my base for really dense areas, and then I just kind of used all the bramble and the ferns and stuff around that to add texture and kind of let it dissipate into old vines and old growth, or places where it's kind of struggled to survive. And then I started adding these wisteria pieces, and it gave me this like deep dark green and this like bulby like texture to it that like really elevated it and brought it off of the walls a little bit more. And I just really I love playing with texture like this. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. And then that's most of the build. I realized at the last minute that I completely forgot this balcony area and was like, oh man, we gotta fix that, because it is outside, so, and we're doing exterior, so we gotta make sure that it's done. Added this little rusty drink machine over there in the corner next to the cigarette machine, and this keep out sign, and here we go. We're doing this. We're gonna do this little balcony, which honestly, I should know better. I should know myself better. I wanted it to be more of like a hangout spot, but naturally I just put way too many plants up there. and there wasn't very much room for hanging out by the end of it, but we made it work, right? Again, this is kind of a spot where I'm just, so many of the houseplants are so small, and it's just a pain, because it's like, once they're small, once you make them big with like move object, they are massive and definitely not the vibe. Like, there's not enough room for them. So it was really tricky trying to figure out a way that felt satisfying to have all of these plants up there, but also like keep the energy of the place. I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna end up keeping it like this. It satisfies me for right now, but until I do the interior, I'm not really gonna know how well it fits and like how necessary it is. I do suppose that if somebody is living up there, then maybe in this like top floor, then maybe they would decorate a balcony and like have it more realized. But basically, this is the very end of this whole build. There's some screenshots at the end of it in the real environment of Evergreen Harbor, so I hope that you guys like that. Hope you guys enjoyed sort of watching me struggle through this build, but I am truly pretty happy with the final result. If you like seeing this, just give me a little like and let me know what kinds of builds you might want to see in the future. I'm Sid, thanks for hanging out with me. I had a really good time. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.